Hello, team. We are back. You defeated the Ankeg. No more are coming to fight you. What? What are you doing? What's your plan? You got these two dead giant insects.
Balara collects her arrows, wipes the ichor off of them.
Can I collect for 2 arrows I shot as well?
Yes.
I feel like I would get them for you if I was already there.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah.
Much faster.
I'd be like, okay, these fancy pretty ones, these belong to Amy over there.
The
right.
one's made of the same wood that Amaryllis is.
Yep.
I think Richter would just fall to the ground and take a little breather. Because I'm pretty hurt right now.
So, what are these things? He'd sort of like kick one with the tip of his boot.
Goo sprays out.
Do I know what these are?
Nature check. Yeah, nature check.
12.
Yeah, you would. Ankeg are pretty common, especially around Mother's Horn, in the looser soiled areas, because most of Mother's Horn is very rocky. They're a burrowing, monstrous insect. You don't know a whole lot more about them, but they do sense. You know, they did exactly what they did. They hunt underground by vibration. Spray acid.
They are called Ankeg, I believe, in your tongue. They do exactly what you just saw. There is not much more to them.
Are they worth anything, or could I make a medicine roll to see whether any of their bits are
Would be medicinal? Sure, yeah. Probably not. I mean, for like master herbalism, you could probably find some uses of all these things.
Yeah.
But not anything that
fine.
strikes your eye. The obvious exciting thing is that they're large chunks of insect chitin, which could be useful for armor. It wouldn't be, you know, the most powerful, strong armor in the world, but it could definitely be something.
They are too common in this land to be of great value.
Oh, well, that's a shame. I just thought we've not really got all that much for trading with. Not much gold either.
It is wise to not waste an opportunity. Alas, these creatures do not present much of an opportunity.
I suppose so.
From the floor, I would be like, Balara, would the acid be of use to you? Or a couple of arrows, perhaps?
Would it, and would I know?
I mean, I think adding, you know, basic poisons to the tip of your arrows is something that every hunter does. Adding acid to your arrows is a whole lot more advanced. But there's definitely values if you could harvest some of the acid on something like this. There's probably some kind of gland or organ that could do that. Or in them somewhere.
I would look to Richter and I would say, normally, yes. But since these arrows are the same to slay foes as they are to provide us dinner, I'd rather not take the chance of mixing them up.
Okay.
Smart, though.
What if we just pulled off the head plate and then cooked
Use it as a sled.
I mean, yes, that'd be amazing.
It's good, big enough.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
We could pull off just
float?
the head plates It might be quick. If there's any good meat underneath, we could take it. I mean, God knows if these things are edible, then the village could use it.
I wouldn't know where to start.
Balara would start wriggling a dagger like between the chitin and the meat.
Yeah.
And see if she could get it loose.
Survival check.
Sure.
Get loose.
Could. I'd be probably never mind.
Jesus Christ.
Nah, this, eating insects isn't incredibly common for your culture. The gnomes do. But you don't really know how to butcher something like this, and you're kind of aware that definitely some of this meat shouldn't be eaten. So after a bit of more exploratory surgery than carving, you kind of decide it's not safe.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the anatomy. I know that where we're going, they might be interested in the meat, but I don't know if it's worth it to spend a day on this.
Fair enough.
Well, I do now need to rest just a few hours.
Of course.
Maybe we should press on in case there's more of these things.
Belle,
It's
you're not
nice.
very far from Clearkeep. Maybe 2 hours at this pace.
Does somebody else want to give it a shot? Get this chitin off so that we can let him rest and pull him along behind us.
Oh yeah, that'll work. Right, you jab the dagger in, and I'll pull.
Survival with advantage. Hell
There it
yeah.
is.
You can remove the entire, front head plate.
Comes away. It's like a
sort it. Yeah, exactly. Once you get it in the right place, it's all one section. You clean it up enough, attach it to basically make a pull sled, which would be incredibly useful for carrying very wounded people. It can definitely work.
Or supplies back.
Or
from this
supplies
place.
back, or something like that. This is a very practical
good
thing.
idea.
And, the 20 is basically you setting this up to be a pack and all that kind of thing. And actually, with that 20, I wasn't going to allow this because it's not how it works. But with that 20, I will allow Richter to take a short rest on the back because you did get a 20 and
Because he's a little baby and needs his
because he's
snoozies.
little bab.
Needs his snoozles. Yeah, so Bell and Turin have each
Yeah.
got a...
It's one of those things because it's
We've tied one to Amaryllis without her knowledge.
It's because it's kind of like a V shape, kind of. You can kind of pull it onto the two prongs, have the sledge. It's shaped perfectly for this kind of thing, especially when it's going to be more snowy. This is going to be very practical.
Like a
So it's one of
Dorito.
those. No, Doritos aren't V shaped.
Yeah, they are.
They're triangle shaped.
One end is... I mean, a V is kind of triangle. Like,
Yeah, but the V insinuates the. Never mind. I'm just never going to describe anything again. Have fun. What I was trying to say is that one person, if you were pulling the supplies, one person could pull this very easily without really slowing down. But right now, you two pull and head further north, and soon enough, Belle,
Dorito Dean.
you see Clearkeep up ahead. The others wouldn't notice it immediately because, as you might imagine from a gnomish enclave, it is built into the side of the rocky valley walls. But as you get closer, you can see occasionally there are areas where it's kind of been built out, square building sides, and the occasional little turret or section where guards are. You can't quite see them because of how they're designed and how far you are away. You also notice the small little areas where they've clearly quarried away some particular type of rock. All of this is built into an area of a kind of more orangish rock than a lot of the other sections. It gives this area a very almost clay-like color. The area in front of the Clear Keep is very flat, with forests and more rocks to the side and a deliberate kind of flat route towards the river. And if you wanted to keep going, that would be where the actual open entrance to Clear Keep is. If you wanted to try and walk in with, but the gnomes don't really allow the humans to just walk in. This is an enclave. It's essentially a fortress. But Belle knows another way in. You head off more towards the wall, climbing up a little bit. Not a difficult climb that requires any sort of checks or anything. And there's an area where there is essentially a secret door in the rock wall that heads toward inside the kind of tavern inside Clearkeep. But that's where, on a rock outside, there is a gnome smoking a pipe. Your friend, Gale. He's sitting on a rock, smoking a pipe. For a gnome, he is quite conventionally attractive, with a sort of earthen tan skin, brown hair, tied up. He's got a headband with like some playing cards and tools and herbal cigarettes stored in them. He's not really wearing armor. He's not really wearing armor or anything like that. Doesn't really strike as a warrior, but for a gnome, not that many of you have met many of them, he's got a bit more broad shoulders, a bit taller than most at around 4 feet. He's clearly not a guard because he doesn't have any kind of alarm of you guys showing up. Doesn't have a weapon on him or anything other than, a dagger that everyone carries around, a dagger. He's not alerted or anything like that. There's just like a puff of smoke from the pipe, and a bit of a smile on his lips.
Blara comes up, like, feigning shooting crossbows with each hand, just like, hey! Grabs a coin out of her purse, slips it into his hand, and pulls an herbal cigarette out of his headband.
He just smiles at that and doesn't really move. Gnomes have, just to describe gnomes for anyone new, gnomes and gnomes have these conical ears that, almost like a cat's, they kind of twitch and move slightly when you do that. It's the really only expression change there is, and often that subtle motion is kind of subconscious. And very expressive eyes that look at Belle for a moment before looking to the rest of them, and he just puffs again on the pipe and says, "You've brought some strays."
This is gonna be trouble.
We don't want trouble, Balara.
I'm saying I'm in trouble, Torin, not you. We have a situation. Do you know anything about the plague on nature?
Plague? I don't know anything about any plague.
Okay. Well,
Bitch.
the river is dying.
Plague.
All the things inside of it are dying.
Plague.
Our town got hit by a dragon, and
I
need
think
a
if
lot
there
of
was
help.
a dragon, we would have noticed it. We're not that far away.
There was a dragon.
Huh.
Do you think that I would bring people here if it wasn't?
You're right. I do believe you. I just hadn't heard about any dragon. I keep my ear close to the wall. I hear everything going on in town, and I didn't hear anything about a dragon. So.
Well, yeah, there was a dragon. We got leveled.
Okay.
It
You need a
poisoned the
place
land.
to.
We need food. We need to save them. We need to rebuild. I brought insect meat.
Okay.
I have coin. This one needs medical attention. If you know anyone.
Hello.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's in good hands. Don't worry.
Good, yeah, because you know the deal is, you know, back room. We play the games, we gamble, we drink, we laugh. Yeah, people don't notice that I bring humans in occasionally and the occasional Minotaur, but you know, getting you further in, that's going to be messy.
I know it's a lot of trouble. I opened for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Let's head in, have a drink, relax, talk about what happened.
Are there any minotaurs in there right now?
Yeah.
Might be working with the dragon.
Well, you know, I'll have a polite conversation with them, and we'll see where they stand.
Following you.
He gets up. Can you roll me an insight roll, Torin?
He was just about to hop forward and speak to Belle as well.
Gale deliberately blows smoke in your face, kind of plays it off like an accident, and with a bit of a cheeky smile will whip around. And it just looks like you're sitting in front of like a slightly suspiciously flat section of cavern wall, but that's not entirely uncommon because the Mother's Horn Mountains are very sweeping. But kind of pushes his hands in the right place, and there's a it rolls and moves with surprising ease with the little creature, and he motions you all through. There's like 5 feet of rocky walkway before another much easier to open door, and into what can best be described as the back room of a tavern or casino or something of the sort. What do you want to say, Torin?
If we were ever going through, or when he was doing that, Torin felt comfortable whispering to Belle, he'd say, I don't trust him. He can't help us if he can't negotiate. A tavern isn't going to have enough food.
It's the best chance we have.
What if he's working with the dragon?
He's not.
We don't know
We'd be
that.
dead already.
What? No. That's something. Come on.
All right,
not catch
humans. Welcome to Clear Keep, please. Keep your voices down. You are illegal. But while you're in the back here, you can enjoy some mon. You can enjoy a little drink. We have some food if things are really that rough. And if you do need to stay the night, then we can probably sort out some sort of blankets or something. The room he leads you into is literally like any movie where there's a back room in like a tavern where they've got just like a card table. It's dark, but not. There's a little bit of light from quite stocky candles and things like that, and a lantern. There is like section where drinks are being stored, but it's not the bar because this isn't the tavern. And you can hear the muffled noise of the rest of the fort, which you couldn't really hear beforehand. The rumbling of voices, the groaning of machinery and mining, music playing in the tavern outside. It's smoky, with a mixture of both tobacco and pipeweed smoke. The table itself has a couple of people around it. It's no game you've ever seen before, aside from Belle, obviously. With coin on it, and a couple of people, mostly gnomes, but there is one Minotaur on a noticeably specially made stool, leaning over, because the ceilings are... You know, Amaryllis has to duck her head around here. It's, shady. Shady and dark and gloomy and small, but safe. There's noticeably, like, slight step and stairs, and an entrance that would lead further into the keep, because this is, a secret room in the back of a secret keep, secret area. Not really meant to go up that way, of course. Belle probably has wandered off into the keep before secretly, but,
I'm sure she's followed Gale around all kinds of places, yeah?
Yeah. You would know then that this door kind of leads into like the actual bar of the tavern. And I'm saying tavern because that's the best way to describe it, but this is like an internally working fortress. It's not really a town. So this is more of like a cantina, I suppose, sort of. And then that leads into the actual inside of the underground fortress.
I would kill a man for some fresh fruit.
Fruit? This time of year? Might have some apples. Might have something. I'll take a look.
Who do you need killed? Get me an apple.
Let's, just not kill anyone. Today. Already enough trouble as is. Rain check on the murder. Thanks. And he will hop up the stairs to the tavern.
So what's the plan?
We're going to explain the situation to him. He's going to offer what aid he can. We are good friends.
He just offered it. A night's meal, somewhere to stay. That's kind of him, but it's not going to help the village.
We'll see if he can get a beat on somebody that can help us. We're humans. We're strong. We can do things that they can't do. Surely something can be worked out.
Maybe.
I would like to use a precognition with the question, will we be able to obtain aid for the village from this fortress, keep, town thing?
Clear keep.
You close your eyes. None of you probably notice the flowers blooming in Amaryllis's hair despite the gloominess of the room. In your vision, you see very little. You see a pair of hands, food in those hands, grains, fruit, salted meat. But wrapped around the wrist of the hands is a black snake, kind of staring aggressively at, you. Of course, it's rarely actually you in these visions, keeping you away from the hands filled with food.
Amaryllis will just, after a few seconds, just open her eyes and will say, "We will be obstructed. Something is blocking us."
How do you know?
A black
Probably.
snake wrapped around hands offering aid. I have seen it. I do not know precisely what it means. Maybe it will become clear.
Well, this Gale was certainly offering aid.
We can't simply jump to call in someone a snake just because.
I didn't call him a snake.
No. But that was the implication.
The implication was that we should watch what we do.
Yeah, right.
It is more likely that whoever wishes or could offer us aid has their hands bound by some other force.
Gale would not harm me.
Not unless he had to save himself.
Perhaps. But doubtful. We've been in all manner of situations where he could have left me to his advantage. It hasn't happened yet.
Gale comes back in at this point. Very noticeable because all the doors are stone, right? You hear it grinds and moves. He comes back down with a stone bowl of... There's some slightly not super fresh apples. The main thing in the bowl of food are these grey-pink... Best way to describe them would be sort of a flatbread or a pancake, somewhere in between. They've clearly been cooked on like a flat surface, and so they do have little bubbly pockets and little caramelized bits. Belle, this is like the main food stuff they eat around here. You are here to find a food stuff that can grow in the caves. What these pancakes are made of is the stuff. It's not the best tasting or texture, but it will fill you up. And he'll kind of like put that on, just a crate, because there's like storage of bottles and things in this room. And so eat up. You're probably if you're having trouble with food, you're probably hungry.
She'll grab his head with both hands and put her forehead on his forehead, and then push him away and start shoveling food into her mouth.
So bold, even in front of your friends.
I did not hear that, I'm sorry.
He said, so bold, even in front of your friends. Kind of, he's like walking around Torin and Richter, and not so much Amaryllis. Maybe hasn't noticed her yet.
Introductions. And then she'll pass the bowl to Torin. And you're like, this one's Torin. Good friend. This one's Amaryllis.
Amaryllis just sort of blinks and nods very slightly at him.
You see him smile widely but uneasily.
and she'll make eye contact with him and say, new friend. And then be like, and this is Richter. Acquaintance.
He smiles very toothily at that. It's like, well, if you're friends of Belle, you're friends of mine. Please, eat. Relax as best as possible. Take it easy. Take the weight off your feet. Take your boots off. Take your cloaks off. Relax. Okay? That's all we do back here. We relax. We play. We have a good time.
Ale? And she jiggles her pouch at him.
We can have a little ale.
None for me and Torin, thank you. We don't drink when we're working.
Oh, you're working! So am I. He will go over to where there's like just some stray kegs of ale and pour a stone mug, and he will walk back over and will hand one to Belle and then hand one to Richter. I'm a professional drifter,
I'm sorry, Mr. Gale.
Mr. Gale.
Your hospitality and kindness is greatly appreciated. We really do, thank you.
Yes.
However, our village is on the brink of starving, and this food would leave a bitter taste in my mouth, more so than usual, were I to accept it knowing the fate that they're in. We've come in the... I keep dropping into an accent with Torres. We've come in the hope... Yeah, I know, it's vicious.
Just let it happen. Let it happen.
In the hope that you could maybe get us some of the raw materials for this.
We need connection.
If we could grow our own, then we'd be better off.
If a farmer could come back with us, we could offer something in trade. a service, a
A
commodity.
hunter.
Yeah.
I smile at Beliar a little bit. I push the ale away.
He will
Thank
just
you,
take it back
but
and
seriously.
start drinking it.
Lara, like, not even making eye contact, just cheers his mug and starts drinking.
I understand. Yeah, you want a trade. You want like an actual trade between Clearkeep and Cornucopia. Yeah, you know, that's not something I can handle.
A big one. I know you know people, though.
I know people. I could get you in contact with the folks that run the farm, but they'll get in trouble if they do something without permission.
I can go alone, and I can be invisible.
That's talking about stealing the food right before winter. We're gonna have a hard time
Not
hunting.
stealing, to speak with them. Nobody has to know.
When they speak with you, they get in trouble. It goes higher and higher. Because we're not really... I mean, we're not... You're not even meant to be here. We're not meant to trade with you. You know, I bring it up. I brought it up before. I think you lot are all right. Right? You might, you know, live about the same lifespan as a gnat. You might be kind of awkwardly proportioned and not so easy on the eyes. But, you know, you're good people. Hard workers.
She'll shove him at that.
He just, like, smiles wider.
If I may, even if we were to do this discreetly and with respect, those in charge would see what we do as stealing.
Exactly. And that's why you'd have to talk to the ones in charge. But I've talked to the, to Wally. All matters of trade, they go through him. You know, but, not super into that idea. So it's illegal to even have you here. But, you know, you get caught with this, you're just going to get kicked out. Selling you stuff.
So what if you're not even a part of the equation? What if I happen upon
Then,
people
you know...
in charge and plead with them?
I can probably get you... to that. To the Vizier and the Technocrat. I don't know. You got away with charming people sometimes. It's a chance.
And what happens if it doesn't work?
They won't kill you. They'll just kick you out and say no.
Which will kill people, one way or another.
Yeah, but...
I think, considering the state that Cornucopia is in, I think I speak for my father too when I say that charming our way to full bellies is not the correct course. I think we should open communications with you, with all of you.
I don't know who your father is. And I get it, right? I get it. That'll be all up to what you can say to convince the Vizier.
Good.
I can probably get you to wherever he's at.
Couldn't we just walk into the middle of town?
Balara snorts into her tankard.
Maybe we could knock on the front door. I mean, surely if we knocked a few times, someone would speak to us if we were reasonable.
No. I'm like the only person here that likes humans. You could walk up to the front gates on fire and we wouldn't even piss on you. The royal we. I would piss on you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
While this conversation is ongoing, I would like to just be scanning the room. It's a long shot, but I'm looking for two things. Either people who are paying a lot of attention to this conversation, but like in a subtle manner.
Yeah,
or
eavesdropping.
or to and this is a very long shot because it's obviously symbolic, but like if I notice like black snake tattoos or any sort of
give me an insight roll for that.
In the middle of the room, there's a giant black mamba.
Don't put it past me. Okay. These future sites are always going to be like massive metaphors aside from like one. It's going to be really surreal, and you're like, how could this ever happen? And then it does.
See a dragon.
What was it? 21?
22.
22? That's one more than 21. The people at the table are more interested in their game. Most of them are quite old gnomes. So while they are aware you are in here, they are not like eavesdropping to give information or anything. You figure that if they're in here, they're already probably, you know, what's the word? Not really siding with the fort's politics. This whole place is like a secret back room, you know.
It was a long shot, but you know.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, might as well try.
I just do not feel comfortable with underhanded tactics of any sort.
It's not underhanded if it gives us a fair chance.
Yeah. Yeah. That one would make a good gnome. It's not underhanded. You're not going to go in there and kill him. I'm just going to guide you secretly to where they are, and then you can have a normal, regular conversation.
We can still knock.
Different peoples have different ways of doing things. The first thing one must do to negotiate is to abide by their customs.
But their customs don't give us a chance, Amaryllis. We wouldn't get to speak to them at all.
Okay, another idea we could do, if you're really interested in going to the front gate, which I wouldn't recommend, is I could try and have someone currently at the gate that doesn't hate you. I could try and, you know, ask some people to move some shifts around, get someone who would be willing to let you in for a conversation. That alone would get the attention of the higher-ups.
That sounds perfect.
Sorry, Torin, please.
That way we wouldn't get in any trouble for appearing in their private chambers, and we'd be able to hopefully speak to someone in charge, at least a little.
I don't like
Do you
it.
think,
I don't agree with it, but I'm willing to do it.
Bella?
What do you recommend, Kale?
Honestly, I recommend... My best negotiations have always been sneaking up on someone and popping out and not giving them enough time to think things through properly. You know, if you walk up to the front gates, they're gonna go, oh, well, I can just bring the military with me and I can just stab them. You know, could happen. I mean, they could stab you if you sneak up on them, but honestly, you could, like, Warlear is an old dude. You could just level him, if you needed to, I'm sure. Don't recommend it. That wouldn't be very good. But I feel like you might end up in a fight if you go in through the front gate. I believe that you could probably sneak in and do all of that, but these 2, 3 look a little harder to sneak around this place.
They're conspicuous, yeah.
I mean, I'm wearing bloody chainmail. It's not exactly easy to move quietly.
Let me talk to some people. Let me move the staff around.
Balara will grab his hand and just like squeeze. Thank you.
Snap all of his fingers off. Just put a gnome.
Yeah, you owe me, but I think,
I do.
Life is better than death and all that. He's kind of like,
And
no.
we will die without you. Right now.
He kind of like takes some of his like pouches and bags off and puts them aside and heads or like around a table. Says, go wait outside, give it like an hour or two, and then start yelling at the front gate, I suppose. He starts muttering in Gnomish as he heads up the stairs. And leaves you.
What was he saying?
Oh, like what you would expect. Like, now I have to go and do this, and
Okay.
again I'm gonna get hanged for this.
You heard him. Let's go.
Once we were outside, Torum would say, we have to be careful for this. And he'd like gesture towards Amaryllis. This black snake. If Idric sent us that vision, he sent it for a reason.
Iric, you're adding a T again.
No, I'm adding an R. No, I'm adding a T.
Otherwise, it'd be attic.
I think we might need a break.
You know what? I got a big fat one.
Let's take a break. We'll be back in a few moments. I'm gonna go reboot Neil. That'll be
I
good.
enjoyed that. It's all this staring at screens for work I've done.